look, don't be the best or the fastest on every single stage. Just don't finish 198th on one of them. That's the plan.
Division, because the gun is so hard to shoot. It really has a lot of separation in just the gun that you're shooting.
Be ahead of yours. Do you change what you might do based on what somebody might have already done on a stage?
I mean, generally not.
You don't know. So paying attention to that kind of noise will just be taking me away from my current focus, which is just me and my gun.
Our championship coverage of USPSA competition is exciting, but there's more to the story. There are more than 34,000 members in 750 clubs shooting matches across the country. Competition at the local level is family-friendly fun, good training, and you likely already own the guns to compete. The local clubs are ready to welcome you. Find out more about how to get started at uspsa.org.
Shooting USA is brought to you by Colt, still making history, and by Armageddon Gear, the leader in long-range shooting accessories.
So this is a series of interviews that I was able to pull together over the last 2 days with essentially the podium from last year's Carry Optics Nationals and one additional unclassified shooter who is a real threat in the form of Christian Seiler. First up, in the order that we were able to conduct the interviews, is Max Michel. All right, awesome. We're up and running. My first guest for this interesting series of quick interviews about Carry Optics is none other than the winningest shooter in the history of the division, Max Michel. Max, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it, man. Looking forward to chatting with you here.
Man, it's exciting that we have the ability through this technology to just, a couple of text messages earlier this morning, a quick phone call, and now we're doing an interview. It's fun for me because nothing like this existed. When we first started doing this kind of thing, there was nothing like this. And now, no big deal. I'll just send you a link. We'll jump on later around 2 o'clock. No problem.
That's it.
I'm excited to talk about the return of the king to Carry Optics. I mean, prior to last year, you were the only guy who had ever taken one. And, now that pressure's off. If that was pressure, and maybe that's where we start. Was that pressure to be the only guy in what's arguably the hottest division of this competition?
Yeah, I think, for so long, when you win, it becomes expected to just continue to win. And the more that you are expected to continue to do anything, it becomes more challenging, I think, if you allow it to be. But, to me, pressure is a privilege as well, because if you have that pressure, it means that you've done your job and you've put that kind of mark on your back and that X on your back that folks are wanting to chase and wanting to beat, emulate, or be like, whatever you want to call it. So I was very proud to have gone as far as I have gone without a loss. And even still to this point, I've probably won 100 or more Carry Optics matches and maybe lost 2 or 3. So it's not like it's the end of the world when you lose one. It just allows you to refocus, get back on board, and do what you think is necessary to be better. And for me, like I said, it is a privilege to have that pressure. But it's just one of those things that, it continues to build and build, but that's what you look forward to. That's what you want. That's what you strive for. You strive to be your very best, and it's competition. People are going to come and chase you. That's what it's all about. And to be honest with you, when newer shooters come into the division and you get more competition, then you get better as well. So I've been having a ton of fun just trying to find ways to continue to get better, because when you're at the top and all you worried about is win, 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 you don't necessarily look at how do you get better. You just look at how do I stay on top. But now I'm looking at ways to how do I get better, and it's been fun.
That, for me, is a shot across the bow to the rest of that super squad, because it's fun now. It's not work. And, dude, I mean, it's exciting. I've been doing a little bit of my due diligence and homework. I'm honored to appear later tonight on the Hit Factor podcast leading into this match. So with a little bit of prep, I looked back closely at last year's match and looked into who's squatted where and who's going to be shooting with who this year. So the thing that I find most interesting, this will be the last thing I want to ask you about last year. Overall, you were on the podium still, just slipped behind JJ there. But overall, the two of them, in terms of total time for match, were within 0.2 of a second. And I'm talking about JJ and Nils. They were both total time for the match, 250.54 and 250.77 for Nils. You were 244.92, which if you don't read into any of the other target score, you just read into the time. You shot the match 6 seconds faster than the other two guys, and that tells me what I think you're gonna, what I'm hopeful that you can unpack, and that is you were pressing, you were racing, you were cutting seconds, and you were fighting from the disaster, which was essentially that silly stage one, which, I mean, that you were 198th on stage one. All right, I got to get off of that, but you were fighting last year from the absolute beginning of that match. From day one, you were in a hole and you were fighting your way out of that hole. What's it like if you don't have that difficult, almost 200th place finish on one of the early stages in the match, and you're now 6 seconds ahead of everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different match, isn't it? You know, if you take that one out of the equation, but you can't take it out of the equation. You know, that was me. I shot that score. I had to earn it. I earned that score, good or bad, and I had to live with it. And it's been a constant theme, you know, throughout my career is for whatever reason, I end up starting off slow, or I have something that takes me off my game just a little bit, but I always find a way to come back and win, or at least up to that point, I have always found a way to come back and win. So I never feel like I'm out of it. And that chase and that want and that drive, it really, I enjoy it. You never like shooting like, you know, a poor performance, right? But when you come off the line and you really kind of think about it, you think about, hey, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? How did that happen? How can I come back from it? I like the chase. I like the, you know, I have to climb this ladder. I have to climb this mountain. I do enjoy that part of it. But man, it would be so much easier if I just didn't do that to myself and just go out and shoot, you know, and then have a good performance. So I'm fortunate and blessed to work with a lot of good people. And just because I coach hundreds and hundreds of people and even thousands of people that I train over the years, I'm fortunate and blessed to have mentors of my own and folks that I would call a coach of mine and people that I can sit down with and talk with, hey, mentally, how does that happen? And I know exactly that stage you're talking about. It was an A-zone zebra target, and it was a one-handed thing, and the target was only maybe 7 yards out, and I had put one into the black just barely. One, I was out of position where I was actually shooting out of half of an A-zone instead of a full A-zone. The wall was covered up, so I was shooting out of half of an A-zone. That was my fault, just being slightly out of the position. And another one was when I was shooting with the right hand. I was trying to move on that A-zone only, and I just kind of drug the gun with me into the black. And those are two small mistakes that if I don't make, I probably win that match. And there's no disrespect to JJ and Nils. Those guys earned it, but they can sit here and tell you the same thing. Hey, if I did this and if I did that. And that's why I say, like, I sit in front of you here right now, and I own that. I earned that score. That's my score. I know the mistakes I made. I know how to correct them. Now it's just time to go out and correct them. And I've had a whole year almost to work on those things. So working with people from a mental mindset, you know, how do you flip that switch? And as you said, to be 6 seconds ahead. I don't have to be 6 seconds ahead of those guys. They're some of the best shooters in the world. You know, if I'm 2 seconds ahead of them, that's enough. I don't have to be 6 seconds ahead of them. So just find a way to put my ego aside and say, look, don't be the best or the fastest on every single stage. Just don't finish 198th on one of them. That's the plan.
I'm excited to see it go down this year. Also exciting for this year, we're running the Bill Drill Challenge. And last year at Carry Optics Nationals, Hennig Group, Hennig Wahlgren, and Leif Kunkel, GX Products, they put together a Bill Drill side match. And they had a great deal of success with it. They had a lot of participation in it. And we saw a little bit of it as it unfolded, and then we went on about our business, and then we were fortunate enough to get the winning run off of somebody's iPhone of Isaac Lockwood, and that started this idea that I've been pushing forward. And a mutual acquaintance now of ours, Eric from Howitzer Clothing, saw the vision. I got a few minutes to basically tell the story. This is what I want to do. And he was like, I like it. Let's make it happen. And so we're doing it. The reason I bring that up is two reasons. One, you're involved with Howitzer. You're part of their pro staff. But also, I'm wondering if when the squad, Super Squad 201, gets an opportunity to go through that vendor area and see that side match, will Max Michel put $20 down and run a fast Bill Drill?
I don't know. You know, I didn't do it last year because I was kind of like peeking around the berm, watching the guys, and I tell you, Isaac is a beast at that, man. I mean, I don't know how you beat him. You know, I just don't know how you do it. I think, what was his score last year? Like 130 something?
First of all, lower your voice. We need people to understand that it's possible. Uh, the reason I want people to understand that is there are dollars that are going to be paid out throughout the course of what we're going to call the qualifier. The big, like the final, the challenge is whoever wins the overall fastest build drill for the qualifier. That person steps up on Saturday afternoon and faces Isaac. So yeah, Isaac's fast. However, Isaac even himself has said there are people who are faster. There are people who are doing it. However, again, there's tremendous industry support around that qualifier side. So everybody in each of the classifications who has the fastest build drill for each classification potentially wins a cut of the coffee can money. There's certificates going out on the table. There's going to be random prizes. There's going to be all sorts of reasons to do it, not the least of which is Howitzer is supplying everybody with a clean build drill score with a first ever commemorative first time around build drill challenge shirt. So, you can't have enough t-shirts, but either way, whether you do it or you don't, the point of all of this is Howitzer has the Blue Line Initiative, the thing that they do that you're a part of, JJ's a part of, Isaac's a part of, a lot of other of the pro staff guys are a part of, and that is where they essentially provide firearms training to law enforcement groups, military groups who don't otherwise have the funding to afford somebody like a Max Michel or a JJ or somebody like that to train. So that's the piece that I want to keep driving home here, because that's the feel-good story.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I think it's so cool. And then when you contacted me to chat about this today, that's why I decided to do it. And I asked you, I said, hey, look, there might be a couple dogs barking, there might be a couple kids yelling, and you're like, I don't care, let's do it anyway. So, that's why I'm a part of Howitzer. I spent 10 years in the Army, and I got to see it firsthand with some of these guys, from the military side of things, as well as the LE side. Now that I've been out for a while now, working with SIG for the last 15 years, I work with a lot of groups and agencies, and you see that they don't have that funding. So the opportunity that Howitzer presents to other folks that can't get that funding is pretty incredible. I was just on the phone today with the local SWAT team that I'm going to be training later this month through their Blue Line program. So it's really, really cool to be a part of that, and it's something neat. That's why I'm on this call with you right now, and I want to try to help promote this, not just for Howitzer, but also for our shooting sports and our sport and our industry in general, and the Second Amendment, to be able to show that what we do with firearms is fun, it's engaging, we can get other folks out there, get people interested in it, and understand that it's not all bad that comes out at the end of that gun. It's also, there's some fun involved. I started shooting at a young age. You and I could sit here and talk for hours about the things that we've done together and seen together throughout the sport, but I started shooting at a young age because of my father and because he found shooting through friends. And if you don't have those people that are reaching out, showing you how things are possible and what else is out there, you'll never know, and you'll never try it, and you'll just kind of always see what's on the news, what they want you to hear, and it's obviously been dividing us for many, many years. So I'm standing, like I said, I'll go out there and I'll probably end up putting my $20 down just to support it. But I'm going to go out there and I'm going to shoot a 1.5 or a 1.6, and that's pretty much what Max has in the tank for that. Because I don't train for those things. I don't try to be the fastest build drill guy, but I think it's something cool, something neat, something different. And you and I have had a great relationship for a number of years, and you're obviously behind this as well, and I want to help support that because you've helped support guys like me and our sport for so long as well.
Well, you're kind to say it. And here's the thing. You put up a clean 1.5, and all these other dudes who are going like super fast race car, trying to be 1.3, 1.2, if it's not clean, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter how fast you run the gun. It has to be clean. So don't discount a 1.5 and clean. I think we nailed it. I'm looking forward to it. And like I say, this is going to be a hodgepodge of a number of different guys that I've reached out to today, including you, who are notable that are going to be at the match. So I look forward to the same questions bouncing off of the others. But as always, Max, it's a pleasure and an honor to spend a few minutes with you, and I appreciate you making time in your busy day.
Nah, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you in a couple weeks, bro.
Yeah, dude, we'll be there soon.
Awesome.
The next person willing to jump on an interview with me on day one, Christian Seiler.
Quality is good, and my quality is decent, and we're where we need to be, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Just like that, the man Christian Seiler is in Ipsic, Open Division world champion, multi-time USPSA Open Division champion, throwing your hat into the Carry Optics ring. It's not the first time, but where are you in your preparation, sir?
Yeah, so I got off the World Championship in November, December timeframe and didn't touch the guns for about two-ish months. And when I went to the range, it was shooting fun guns, a production gun primarily. I was having a lot of fun with that. And then just kind of reflected on the year, reflected on the past 3 years, especially actually the past 5 years in preparation for the World Championship, and realizing that that was the top goal. That is the highest achievement in the practical shooting sports, is winning an IPSC World Championship. So took some time to reassess what I want to do, and my primary goal is to win that World Championship again in South Africa in 2025. But we have many years before that, right? 2-3 years before I'm in South Africa. So, I want to go after something else, a little side quest, if you want to call it that, another, stepping stone, a goal that's going to prepare me and what's going to make me better for that next World Championship. And that is, shooting against the best shooters. And there's a lot of really, really talented, good shooters in the Carry Optics division. So I started training a little bit with the Carry Optics guns. I had them in the safe ready to go. So I got those out and started hitting, 1-2 practice sessions a week. And we find ourselves, I think 9 or 10 days out from the Nationals, and I'm feeling like I'm in a good spot. I kind of slowly ease back into things over a 2-month period. I don't have a 6-month kind of training camp like I had for the World Championship, but I eased back into the fundamentals, making sure I had that on lock before I really started exploring what's possible with these Carry Optics guns. And once I felt like I was confident with my physical and mental fundamentals, I started applying that to arrays. And then the movement stuff, just plug and play. It's the same stuff with the open gun. And now it's just experimenting, the strategy and playing with that. And I've had 2 opportunities, a local sectional, local, it was like 4 hours away, drove across there at like 4 a.m. to make it and shoot it in one day. And then Area 4 last week. Those are 2 kind of testing grounds or proving grounds to make sure I was where I need to be to make this Nationals. And I feel like I'm in a really good spot to make it happen and claim my first Carry Optics National Championship title.
Well, you have to know that I didn't know you shot Area 4, so I'm hurriedly changing match here in Practice Score Competitor to find out how it went.
Yes.
Talk about Area 4. I mean, that's a pretty solid talent pool, especially leading into this match. How did that go?
Absolutely. There's a lot of really talented Carry Optics shooters that were at the match, but really notably Nils Jonasson. He's the current Carry Optics National Champion. So last year Nils won. The year before, I believe JJ Racaza won. So I wanted to test my skills against Nils. There you go.
I can't get it. It's completely obscured, but you did very well, sir. It
Yes.
looks like our esteemed guest right now, Christian Seiler, bested Nils Jonasson by a little more than 20 points, man. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Actually, 19 points. Very good.
19 points. Thank you. Yeah, there was one scoring mistake where the time wasn't recording. I believe Nils and Casey and maybe a couple other shooters on a stage, in which I lost 30 points on, where I would have gained, I think, 20 or 30 points. So I think it estimated, this is just kind of, I haven't had the full kind of scoop or summary, but it would have been about, I think, a 40 or 50 point, I think someone quoted 55 point lead. Someone tracked when the first shot and the last shot, and there's videos of different competitors shooting it. So I think it would have actually been a 40 to 50 point win, which is a pretty substantial win. I'm pretty happy with that performance. Although I did have plenty of bumps in that match for sure. It took me a little while to find the pace that I wanted. I was having some kind of grip things in different positions and kind of getting back in the feel of things and how the Carry Optics gun goes. And as you know, with the magwells on the open gun, they're very big. And on my CZ Shadow 2, it's a very small magwell. So those could sort of little bumps and such in the match. But you had a good first day, good first Saturday. I think I shot 5 or 6 stages, and all but one went really well, and I was happy with. As much as you can be. I had one kind of hiccup, tagging a no shoot and kind of fussing with stuff. But day 2, I come out on my first stage and I put 2 shots like that, below the headshot at 20 yards. And so 2 misses to start off the day. And then right after that, kind of falling out of position. And so that was a very important moment, and a moment that I need to decide how bad do I actually want this, and how bad am I going to fight for this win now, to make a statement for nationals next week. And how bad do I want to fight for this carry optics thing in general? This is not something I have to do. No one's forced me to do this. This is something I want to do because I'm a hungry competitor. I like to win. I like to compete against the best people in the world. By no means do I feel obligated to make this carry optics nationals, especially after the world championship, but I enjoy competing. I love and respect my competitors so much. And I just decided, here we go. So I hit the next stage running, and just really went on a 5 or 6 stage streak, shooting pretty solid, shooting the centers of the alpha as fast as I possibly can, letting a few get out of there from now and again, only tactfully so. But and then came across with a good 20-point win. It's in the books 20 points, maybe a little more than that. So I was happy with the performance, but I'm gonna make some changes, dial myself in. I got my practice schedule there. I'm gonna hit Wednesday, Thursday in Bellevue. Hit the weekend, go train with Juan's Kim up north. 2 more sessions at West Coast, and then one more with my buddy Anthony Felder, and then we are hopping on the red-eye flight down to Ohio.
That's exciting. We will be we'll be northbound and down driving up to Ohio. It's about 6.5 hours for us, but it's night and day when it comes to travel for us. If we don't have to give our gear to the TSA, by all means, that's the choice. So, as far as this match goes, it sounds like you're very well prepared, and I think you're proven, obviously, against one of the strongest competitors in the field, having bested Nils last week. However, they have a sort of a 2-squad scenario here where there's one squad of last year's top finishers from Carry Optics Nationals, and then another squad of a very stacked field. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at who all is on 204 with you, but the Army is sending 3 fellas this time, 3 very accomplished fellas.
They definitely are. So that would be Shane Coley, Aaron Eddins, and then Jacob Hetherington, I believe.
Yeah, you got John Browning on there too.
Oh,
so
John
yeah,
Browning
Shane is former, Team Glock now.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, man, I think 204 is going to be a squad to watch, just like 201. And from a how do we cover it, how do we present it for the show, I think I have a plan, but we'll figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
For you. Are you going to shoot against anybody, or are you just going to shoot Christian Seiler's game and everybody else shoots against you if they choose to?
Yeah, that's definitely my mindset. And so my mindset going into this is I always think people have something called a performance bubble. So if I go to a match and I shoot my absolute best, then I shoot 100% of me. If I go to the match and I don't shoot 100% of me, let's say that's 95% of me. And so if I have a bad day, I'm shooting 95% of what I'm capable of. A good day, 100% capable of. And my goal is on my worst day, if I shoot 95% of what I can do, I want that to be able to beat the best day of my competitors. And so for me, all I need to do is shoot 100% or as close as I possibly can to 100% of my best ability. And I believe with my training and preparation that my 95% is above my competitors 100%. And that just comes from the confidence in my training and all the practice that I do and all hard work I'm putting in. And I know my competitors are working, equally as hard and really putting in that work. But I find my ways to separate in the matches. I'm really excited for that. So a quick note on the preparation and back to the squatting, because that is going to be an interesting consideration for me and how we track and also how you guys film and whatnot. But my preparation, I'll never feel as prepared as I was for that world championship. I mean, I could look at a spot, the gun goes there. I could close my eyes and the bullets would meet what I'm looking at. I was so absolutely dialed of roughly a 6-month training camp, but like 2 to 3 months of almost every single day. I would shoot the gun, load the ammo, shoot the gun, load the ammo, pretty much every single day. I'd take a day off when my hands hurt or I needed to do something else, right? Or take a day off for whatever reason. So that's the most dialed I ever felt. So it's very hard to feel like that dialed. My threshold of how dialed I can really feel and how tuned I can feel, that ceiling definitely raised with the world championship. But I try to get as close as possible to that. Sure, would I love like 5 more months behind the gun and maybe more than 2 matches? Absolutely. But I'm confident with what I got and what I'm bringing, the toolkit, what the tools that are in my toolbox, what I'm bringing there to Ohio next week, will get the job done. But yeah, to be perfectly honest, I'm not excited that the former national champion or the current national champion in the division is in a different squad. I don't think that's right. But then again, how is USPSA? What's the policy for that? It's the top 10 or top 12 from last year with some exceptions potentially. Would I like to be an exception and toss in that squad as the current world champion? I would like that, to be perfectly honest. I think those guys, or I know those guys would like for me to be on the squad, but it is what it is, and I always have just dealt with the cards that I'm dealt and play with those. And I know what I got in my hand is my skills and training, and I don't really care what table I'm sitting at. So that's all that matters.
Awesome. So excited and so looking forward to it this year for a number of reasons. One of which is, and I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but we're running this Bill Drill Challenge as a side match. They did it last year. Hennig Wahlgren and Leif Kunkel and GX Products put together that side match. And we managed to catch a little bit of it on camera in last year's episode. And this year, that is still running. They're going to run it the same way they did last year. I'm going to dedicate a camera or two to that portion of it, because whoever comes out of that is going to face off against Isaac Lockwood for the Bill Drill Challenge as a potential spinoff. So, question posed to those who've been on before you and will be posed to those who come after you. Will you come in through there and throw down at least $20 and put down a couple of fast Bill drills?
I'll put down one or two. I am going to lose that side match, but I'm going to win the main match, and that's in kind of my style. My style is consistency and longevity of my grip and performance throughout the match. And so to be able to put down a time that's going to beat whoever's going to shoot the fastest Bill drill there, you won't have a good grip. You won't have a consistent grip. That grip won't last more than the 6 shots. They won't last past that distance of wherever we're shooting at 7-10 yards. So I have no plans to win that. My plan is to win the match. But I will definitely go down there and have some fun and see what I can do. And I'll put all 6 in the alpha, and I'll do that same performance I could do 15 times. But I'll only do it one time. That's
fine.
Because we
just
can do
come
it 15 times.
Hey, just make sure you come through, just so that we have the big names and the notables striving to make their way into the Bill Drill Challenge. I'm excited to do it, man. I'm excited to watch this match unfold. I'm joining the fellas later tonight on Hit Factor podcast to talk about a bunch of this stuff. And in the event that I end up in the conversation about who they're picking, I'm kind of torn now, especially learning that Area 4 went so well for you. So I've got a lot of talking points going into that. But for now, I'm excited, and this is about as stacked a field of shooters as I think I've seen for any USPSA National.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited about it. It's a really good challenge. This is something I'm up for. I feel prepared enough to do this and make this match and win the match. Yeah, it's a whole different thing, but at the end of the day, we're taking a thing that shoots bullets out the end of the barrel. I'm looking at a center of the target. I'm aligning the sights, and I'm pulling the trigger, and I'm keeping those sights there until the bullet leaves the barrel and it hits what I'm aiming at. So I'm excited for that challenge. It's outside of my comfort zone. I'm up for whatever happens, but my plan is to win this match, and I know that doing this and pushing myself will only make me better. I have no problem kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone to grow a little bit. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. And yeah, I know it'll be a challenge. It'll be a grind for 3 days. I'm at a point in my life where I'm doing a lot of stuff with work, a lot of stuff for studying. I have a lot of stuff going on this fall. So I think I can kind of put together a few weeks of training together and make this match happen. So I'm going to do exactly that. But Area 4 did not go exactly as planned. I had my fair share of hiccups. My 2 mics on the headshot, tag on a no shoot, kind of getting lost in 1 or 2 of them. Yeah, so I'm just excited to see what I can do. And I'm really hoping for some technical courses of fire. I think that's where you're going to see the most separation. I think you can really separate in the carry optics division, because the gun is so hard to shoot. It really has a lot of separation in just the gun that you're shooting. The open gun, can kind of act as a crutch, meaning that it's a little bit easier to shoot. And then a lot of people can shoot at a certain level. I think the carry optics gun, you can really separate with fundamentals over a long match. I'm really hoping that the stages present a lot of challenges, not just one 20-yard headshot, but a lot of different challenges throughout the match. And Area 4 definitely had a lot of those pieces, which I really liked, some technical components. And I'm excited to see what the course designers have. And I know USPSA always puts on a great nationals and great event. So I'm really excited for that. And we'll see what the courses have, the challenges we'll face, and we'll attack them head on.
Awesome, dude. Literally the easiest interview ever. Just hit start and Christian will just begin talking. That was so well said, dude. Thank you for joining me tonight. I know it's still early on the West Coast, but we're going to wind it down here back east. And again, thank you again for the time, and I look forward to seeing you next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend.
The next weekend. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks, dude.
Morning of day 2, and the first interview is Nils Jonasson, the defending Carry Optics champion.
Well, here we are again. Welcome, champ. This is a continuation of conversations with people who are relevant to the Carry Optics conversation. Of course, defending champion Nils Jonasson is arguably the most relevant. How are you this morning? Thank you for making time.
I'm good, John. Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, you earned it. We are gearing up. We are less than 2 weeks away. And as defending champ, do you carry any pressure? How do you feel about this match going in?
Yeah, I suppose I would. At the end of the day, I'm still just trying to figure out the optics platform. Like, it's still foreign to me compared to some of the other competitors. So I feel like I still have something to prove in that carry optics world, or that optics sided world. So yeah, there's maybe a chip on the shoulder or a little bit of extra pressure going in, but at the same time, I know that I still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. This is a very stacked field. There are, in fact, 2 super squads full of legit contenders, obviously you included, but others who I've talked to, you're on their mind. Now, then I would pose the question back to you. Are there people that you're worried about, or you're thinking about, or you'll be watching as you go into this match?
I mean, in a big match like Carry Optics Nationals, you can't control how anyone else shoots. All you can do is worry about your own performance. That said, you're absolutely right. There are some very high-level competitors coming to shoot this match that maybe haven't shot Carry Optics much in the past. Christian Seiler, the current IPSC Open World Champion, being one of them. But there are a ton of other people. Like Jacob Hetherington doesn't shoot a lot of Carry Optics, or didn't. If he's able to attend this year, he'll also be a very tough competitor.
Yeah, that's interesting. You bring up Jacob. A number of people have thought and have mentioned that. It turns out there are going to be 3 guys from the AMU team, including defending Open National Champion Aaron Edens, coming in as unqualified, or unclassified, I should say. And they're going to be split. Like I say, there's going to be a split between the 2 super squads. The Army guys and Christian are shooting in a squad separate from essentially you, the podium from last year, you, JJ, Max, and others. Is that an advantage, disadvantage? You've already kind of mentioned that you can't control what other people are doing. But in your game, does it matter what somebody else's hit factor might be ahead of yours? Do you change what you might do based on what somebody might have already done on a stage?
I mean, generally not. If somebody shoots a stage plan that's significantly better or worse than what I plan to do, I might take that into account. One thing that may play for some competitors or against them is the fact that they'll be shooting more than likely the stages ahead of the super squad. So there'd be a good chance we'll have an idea of what their stage plans were and their times and hit factors based on that. So it could be a disadvantage or an advantage, kind of depending how you look at it.
Interesting. Just off of Area 4, I was actually, you and I texted back and forth as you were traveling yesterday from Texas. Christian showed up there and essentially flexed a little bit of his Carry Optics steam. How do you feel about seeing that ahead of this match? Where was your performance? How would you gauge that whole experience as a lead up to the Nationals?
I mean, I feel like Christian shot quite well. I don't think he was perfectly happy with how he performed, but at the end of the day, it was more than enough to get the job done. And yeah, no, it was a good test to see kind of where he was at and what he's capable of. It was fun.
Excellent. How do you feel about your performance overall? I mean, granted, Christian was able to eke out the win there by some number of match points. However, you may not, and again, I'm just kind of reading into the tea leaves here a little bit. You may not be showing the whole hand as the guy who came through and won every division last year.
Well, I mean, luck had a little bit to do with last year. I mean, that always helps. Area 4 was interesting. So in the official results, Christian won. I was second. DZ, I think his name is third. And then Tom Castro was fourth. Those results are a little wonky because there actually was one stage where my time was inputted incorrectly. So there should have been a swapperoo with some of the top 4. So it wouldn't have changed the overall score of Christian, obviously. But technically, I was second, but not really.
Gotcha. Yeah, Dazi Zhang. That's a guy who was on the radar last year. JJ pointed him out to me. He was shooting off schedule, and we hustled around just to make sure we were covered on that guy. And again, he's going to be off schedule, so it'll be interesting. Again, I know his name now, and I know who I'm looking for. So for me, it's one of those things. There's two squads full of dudes that could light this thing up at any moment. And then there's a couple of those that are outliers, guys who are in off schedules and different things like that. So there's plenty to work with here. I'm excited about it. I have never personally been to the Cardinal Shooting Center in Ohio. Have you been there? Do you have experience at this range?
I have not. No, this would be my first time to that range in Ohio. And it looks like a beautiful facility. I've heard really good things about it, but I've never been there. So it should be a good time.
Yep. It's always fun when it's a new spot. Also new, you may know about this, you may not. We're going to be doing that Bill Drill Challenge again that went so well last year. Hennig Group and Leif Kunkel with GX Products, those guys ran that thing last year, as you know, and there was some pretty heated competition at the end of it, and one guy ended up walking away with a nice little payday. We're redoing that again this year. Those guys are going to run it again. There's going to be payouts for the classifiers, and then there's going to be an overall winner, and that overall winner will enter into the Bill Drill Challenge, this thing that I've sort of fostered into an idea that's kind of grown some legs, and we're trying to get it from crawling to walking stages. But through the help of Howitzer and a gracious money match from Colt, we'll have a big check. And I guess what I'm getting to is the question, which is, do you have a fast bill drill? Will you attempt a couple of bill drills just to see if you might be able to throw your hat into this thing?
Yeah, I'll definitely attempt it. I shot it a couple times at the last event. I was nowhere close to Isaac Lockwood's time, who basically eats, breathes, and sleeps bill drills and, 0.5 draws. But no, I'll definitely take part in it and have a good time.
Excellent. Well, that's what I like to hear, because, you're known to the audience, and those are the kinds of things that build up what we need to make a segment or two segments, 10 minutes roughly of TV out of something that only lasts about a second and a half. So that's important, and I'm just pushing us along here, getting us ready to get into the Carry Optics Nationals. Anything new on your gear front, or are we pretty much running what's tried and true from Canik?
So last year I shot the Canik SFX Rival. This year I switched over to our new steel frame, the Rival S. So I will be shooting our new steel frame pistol at Carry Optics Nationals this year.
Excellent. And obviously that thing's running good, and no worries about that. Excellent. What have I missed?
I think you touched on pretty much everything. There are a whole bunch of really high-level shooters coming out. You mentioned there are several people off the two A and B super squads that are also going to be contenders, Tom Castro being one of them. And no, it's going to be a fun match. And we're 9 days out from this event?
Yep, it's not this coming weekend, it's next weekend. So looking forward to it.
It's going to be great. Well, I look forward to seeing you there, John.
As always, Nils, it's a pleasure. Thanks again for making time early this morning from the West Coast.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Right on, bro. And finally, after a bunch of back and forth, I was able to get JJ Racaza. Drink that malt. Golly. There it goes. You see what happens now? I don't know how you choke that down. Welcome to this podcast. I have endeavored over the last 2 days to bring back the podium from the 2022 Carry Optics Nationals. You are the final missing piece, sir. JJ Racaza, thank you for making time for us today.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm sorry it took a little bit to figure this out. I should have figured it out sooner, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy we worked it out.
Well, it'll be easy sailing from here on out. And this is just a matter of chatting it up about expectations, where you feel you are, and what we're looking forward to doing 1 week, about 9 days from today, when we get to Carry Optics Nationals. It is a stacked field. What are your feelings? What are your initial impressions?
Initial impressions is that it doesn't matter how ready I am. I think it's all about execution. At the end of the day, everyone's going to be just as ready, just as sharp. Everyone's going to be training hard, doing everything that they're doing. So I think It really, to me, I'm gonna really focus more onto myself this time around, as opposed to trying to compete one, two, three people. There's two. The field is way too deep. I feel like top 20 can win the nationals, and that will just boggle my mind with too much. I would say noise. I would just have to focus on myself. I've been training really hard, working on small things, the fundamentals, cleaning that up a little bit, and I'm starting to feel good. I just gotta lock it in the next, I would say, 7 days.
Well, pretty important at this point. From a equipment standpoint, are you going to be doing something new? Are you running tried equipment? What's the story there?
Yeah, so the gun I'll be using is the one that I use at the World Shoot. That's kind of like my newest gun. I work really well at the World Shoot, so I've been kind of integrating that. I have three carry optics gun that I really like right now that I've been using in practice. So I rotate them throughout training session, and I don't beat up my competition gun as much. And I've just kind of integrating that in my rotation. It's funny because all the same gun, slightly different in regards to recoil system that's in there, and they slightly feel differently, each and every single one of them. One has a really good trigger, the other one just feels really good for me shooting wise in regards to recoil management, and the other one doesn't have as good of a trigger, but for some reason it's got everything that I need on it. I just don't like the trigger on that particular gun. So it's one of those things that I'm like, all right, I need to perform on all three of them just in case something goes down. Luckily, everything's good. My equipment's ready. I haven't had much. I've been shooting some really bad training ammo. So I've had light strikes here or there. Other than that, that's the only issue I've had. But that's the known issue that I have with the current ammo that I'm using.
Okay, but that is not your match ammo for the
No,
nationals.
no.
Okay, good news. Good
That's
news.
right.
Separate from that, as you know at this point, we are going to be rebooting the Bill Drill side match. The GX Products, Leif Kunkel, and Hennig Group, Hennig Walgren, have agreed to run that side match the same way they did last year. But then, once we have who we will deem the contender, uh, with the help of Eric and Howitzer Clothing Company and Colt, I've got a production put together and money match that will then pit whoever the contender is against Isaac Lockwood. I know you're up to speed on this because I know you're in with Howitzer and all of that. What are your thoughts on throwing down a couple of 20s maybe on Saturday after shooting's over to see if you've got a fast bill drill in the tank?
So for me, if this was an open division, I'd probably give it a run. My production, my training, it's literally my sole training and focus has been just pure control. And I'm not sure, right? It's almost like putting all my eggs in one basket. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be the result that I want in the end, because we have no idea how Ohio setup is. We can just kind of guess. And my weakest point right now is between 25 and 30. Somewhere in between, inside of that, I feel pretty good. So it's kind of crazy practicing 25 and 30 constantly. Now, when I go in within 10 yards, that becomes starting to become a weak point of mine. And that bill drill run is not going to be a strong point of mine. So if they shoot, if some of the fastest runs that they'll go over there is going to be a 1.7, I can give it a run. But some of these guys that are putting up the numbers at 120s, I'm seeing posts. I keep getting tagged on it to keep trying to do it. It's a 115s. I saw one of the fastest ones, and I think Lockwood posted a 105, which is unreal.
I told him not to do that. I told him not to hurt people's feelings. But the good news is this: there are payouts uh, per classification for the qualifier match. There's a payout, obviously, for the fastest overall time, and that's going to be that money match that'll end up being on the big check. At the very least, I can trust that you'll hang around on Saturday evening just to watch and just be a part of the spectacle.
Yes, I will be there watching that because that's going to be a phenomenal show. No matter what, that's going to be one of those things that whether you're a top shooter or a new shooter, it's something that you can enjoy.
That's the point. That's what I'm trying to do. So you mentioned not knowing the setup at Ohio. I've never been to the Cardinal shooting facility. I gather that you've never been there either.
No.
Okay. I trying to. I know I asked that question of Nils. He has not been out there. I don't remember if I asked Max yesterday or Christian, but well, I know Christian has not been there. I asked him. it's going to be interesting because it's basically a new spot for everybody. Nobody's really got anything about the range or the facilities around it. What are the hotels? Where are the restaurants? Any of that. Nobody's really got that figured out yet, except for the Ohio people. So
I think that's part of the equation, right? It's like we have some sort of familiarity on Talladega at this point, and I feel comfortable going there. I like routines, so things that are falling into place needs to fall into place. Going to Ohio, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what the airport's going to be like. I don't know what rental car is going to be like. I don't know my hotel is going to be like. I don't know the route to the range. All those things are all new, so it's kind of one of those things. And then being that it's the most John, I know you were there before too. So this feels like the old school open division when everyone was there, right? And this has that feeling, which is an amazing, amazing thing to kind of have it back. We've always wanted, man, there's too many divisions, but it's also at the same time, it's really good to have all these divisions. This time around, it's like almost everyone's coming together and it's happening mid-year, not later in the year. So everyone's kind of trying to get their skill sets sharp sooner than, expected essentially. But here we are, a week away from it, and we all will find out within a week who did it right. I guess leading up to it, someone's doing it right now.
I mean, it's exciting. It's an important division within the market, not just within the USPSA and IPSC as a whole, but every gun company has a carry optics gun now. And every gun company that has a pro shooter that's in this thing wants that title because you win on Sunday and by golly, they're going to sell on Monday. It's the old NASCAR thing. So everybody's got that top of mind. There are dark horses. There are unclassified guys from other divisions who win. I can't imagine what it's like to be one of the elite level competitors. I know that I've got my work cut out for me to get all of the pertinent information and action over the course of 2 super squads and then a few dark horses scattered around. I guess that's me just talking at this point. I don't really have another question other than what have I missed? What do you want to add about this thing?
Nothing. I'm just very excited that I get to compete, and it's kind of one of those that winning is not the main goal. It's just all about personal goals at this point. But if I do win, I mean, obviously, I want that win. Who doesn't, right? If I do win that, it's going to be great for Beretta as a company. It's great for me as a person as well. That I did it right in regards to my training leading up to this. It's kind of one of those it's very hard. There's unclassified guys out there, the guys that you don't know. So paying attention to that kind of noise will just be taking me away from my current focus, which is just me and my gun. If I do everything right, I feel like I have a really good chance of winning it. My movement is good right now. My physical sense is good. I'm pinging 100%. Mentally, I feel pretty strong. Emotionally, just got to control that and manage that during the match. And I should be all right. Well, so very, very excited to see how it pans out. It's just you know what it is? It's just even to just really excited to just be a part of it in the super squad, in the hunt and the running for it. So it's just the whole thing is the vibe check right now. It's amazing.
I think it's been a while since there's been this much hype around a nationals, and it's exciting for me to kind of be pushing it forward, not only for the USPSA and the coverage that you're going to see on Shooting USA, but at the same time, we've got the beginnings of this other idea that Eric and Howitzer have gotten behind and Colt has gotten behind. And to a great extent, I owe you a debt of gratitude, because if it weren't for you saying nice things about me, I don't think I would be where I am in that position with Howitzer. So I appreciate that vote of confidence, and at this point it's just time to perform. So if I give you $20, if I bring $20 and I'm like, hey, here's $20, just try. Will you try?
100%.
Just try.
I will.
Okay.
But I will
to
try it after the match probably.
Yeah. After
Yes.
Saturday,
Yes.
after
Yes.
Saturday's session is
Yes.
over, go walk your stages, then
Yes.
come back by. I'll slip you the
Yes.
20 on the down low. I'm not offering that to anybody else, but just for you, just because we need that $1 million smile when it goes good or when it goes bad or whatever. I want that notoriety piece. I want your celebrity involved in this thing. So much so that I'm willing to pay for it. Yikes.
Yikes.
Awesome, dude. Thank you again for the time. I know you're busy.
John, thank you so much, sir. Good talking to you. See you soon.
I'll see you next week, bro. Bye.
Ciao.
Awesome, dude. That was it. All right.
Awesome.